Hi, it's Greg here with maritimegardening.com, and it's early March, nice sunny day. We've had a lot of snow here recently, finally. Feels like winter's just getting started because it's been a very strange winter. Nonetheless, the last snowstorm we had, I came out here, dusted off these domes. These are two beds where I had, I think I had parsnips growing here and carrots growing over there. I think the plan for this coming summer is to have peas and potatoes growing in this one, and in the adjacent one I'm going to grow cucumbers. But none of those things are going in for months and months and months. So I thought it made sense to just mess around a little bit with these beds, planting spinach, and I'm going to plant some spinach in the adjacent bed. This one here, I've got this cover crop. I just wanted to see how well it would germinate this time of year. I got these from the Hudson Valley Seed Company. If you want to get 10% off on your seeds, just buy your stuff from them. Use my coupon code Maritime10, Maritime10. Anyway, it's a cover crop, and the shoots are supposed to be edible. I think they produce a pea, but it's not a very useful pea. But certainly the shoots are edible. I just decided to stick it in there because basically, you'll see, I had these off the other day because I was picking the last of my carrots. I still think I still might have some in the other garden there. Things are already starting to grow in these beds, even though it's cold outside. Looks obviously it's cold, but it's so nicely insulated, especially with the snow all around it, right? It's like, kind of like an igloo with sunlight getting in and the plastic holding all that heat in. So there's actually some new green in there. So I thought I'd get in here, dig around, prepare the bed a little bit, plant a few things, and do the whole thing in real time. So let's get going here. Yeah. All right, so that dome is seen better days for sure. Now everything in here is not completely thawed. I can see around the sides. Around the sides is still hard. There's certainly blocks of ice, but into the center, it's thawed. Right, so I think what I'll do is I'll take all this weed and grass and all this sort of stuff and just move it off to the side. Maybe I'll pull that. No big deal stepping on the beds right now because the sides are frozen anyway. Just rip up all these weeds. Right, when I plant, see, you can see there's right, green grass, right? Stuff growing in here, even though it's cold. Definitely still frozen around the sides though, for sure. Brick right there. There's a rock. I had a couple rocks and bricks just holding the domes down during a bad windstorm we had once. Maybe I'll push all this stuff down there near the end, actually. Change my mind here. Now, often I have a video and I come out and everything I'm doing is very, I look like I'm completely on top of my game, right? Everything's sort of figured out. But most of the time when I come out here, I'm just kind of messing around and I fumble my way through whatever it is I'm doing. So I thought I'd do a video like that. Now, sorry if I'm a little bit, little heavy breathing in the, that's just part of doing physical work sometimes. All right, so it looks like about a foot from the side in every direction is frozen, and everything else is thawed to some extent. There's a degree of thaw, let's put it that way. Which is fine, we can work with that. I'll just push this stuff down to the end here. All right, this bed. The bed is 10 feet long, but the dome is only 8 feet long. All right, so we got her all smoothed out here. Sorry, I had to shut the camera off for a minute. I just had a coughing spell. Had something go down the wrong tube there. So, and then I forgot to turn the camera back on. Anyway, we got her all smoothed out here. Right, nothing too crazy, just a quick hoe. I noticed there's a couple, see, I was growing parsnips here last year. There's a couple little tiny ones that I didn't pick that were left over. So I got those out. Okay, now I can make a few rows here. Just gonna make, I know, a row on this side, a row there. I can't go any further over than that because it's frozen over there, right? Maybe, I mean, this is meant as a cover crop, so I can plant them a bit closer. Maybe I'll do 4 rows. Maybe that's enough. Yeah, 4 rows is good for these. I would never plant peas. Well, normally I plant climbing peas, right? And I only put 2 rows on either side of a big trellis. And a garden that size usually find is enough. All right, we got everything ready. Let's drop these guys in here. Completely frozen on the sides. I always find that amazing. All right, I'm really curious to see how well these do. And I'm curious to see how quickly they come up. Oh, geez, I almost dropped her. All right, let's see now. The trick with things like this is you don't want to plant them too deep. I know that you can just you can just broadcast these over the ground and just rake it up a little bit. And that's a perfectly fine way to sow these. I'm going a little bit more purposeful here, just because I don't want to use them all up, right? I want to save them for other applications in the fall, right? Great thing about using these particular peas as a cover crop, if you plant them in the fall, the winter will kill them, right? So you could plant them in September and have them grow, until the end of October perhaps, and they'll just sort of stop growing because the days it gets shorter and gets cold. And then the winter will kill them. So unlike a lot of other cover crops where you have to kill it, or it'll just start growing in the spring, this one will get winter killed. So it's an ideal cover crop in that sense. All right, now I'll just move that soil back over them. All right, nothing too fancy. All right. Now these seeds were barely covering them, right? That's the idea, so the heat can get at them, but there's enough soil to keep them nice and moist. All right, now I don't have a watering can out here today, but we don't need that because we got snow, right? So just put some snow in there like that. That's all you need to do. When I put the dome, paper there. When I put the dome back on top, all that snow will melt, right? And people might ask, like, how often do you have to water under the domes? Under domes like this, you almost don't have to water at all. It's kind of a closed system. So, the sun will shine on the dome and heat everything up and cause evaporation, but then the water's got nowhere to go. So the evaporated water will come in contact with the roof of the dome. The roof of the dome is much cooler because it's in contact with the outside air. That'll cause condensation, and it'll just rain back down into the bed. So you really don't lose water this time of year anyway in any meaningful way. So these really will not need to be watered. Now if I come out here and check them and the soil seems dry, I would water them or throw some more snow on. But I fully expect in a week or so we'll have some germination in here. Shoot, you can come far enough this way. All right, that's in pretty tight now. I always think it's a good measure just to throw a little snow around the sides for insulation, like that. Snow down my glove here. All right, just like that. If we do get another snowstorm, while I'm trying to grow stuff like this, I don't completely shovel off the dome. I normally just push the snow back to reveal about 2 feet of the surface so that all the light can get inside, but the snow holds the heat in really well, right? Because snow is a very useful kind of gardening tool, right? And you can use it as an insulator. All right, fully expect that to germinate. All right, let's do the bed over there now. So I made the decision to come out here and plant today, yesterday when I was out here grabbing some carrots, right? Because I noticed there was still some, basically I noticed this grass was growing, right, in the bed. So I thought, boy, if grass is growing, other things can grow in here. It's warm enough for that. Look at that. Clearly warm enough in this bed for the things to grow if the worms are moving around, right? We'll get him covered up and safe. A little bit cold for worms right now, but underneath the dome, right, you got the microclimate. I'm noticing these carrots are starting to grow, right? So there's no point in having them out here because you don't want your carrots growing, right? They don't, that'll degrade their flavor. You don't want them growing at all, right? So if you've overwintered carrots in some way, under a dome or whatever, and you check them, and you notice they're starting to grow, get them out of there, right? Because they've got all this energy, sugar, stored in the root, and you want that energy for you. Yes, you could leave them in the ground, and if you wait long enough, they'll go to seed, and you can use those seeds if it's an open pollinated variety, which these are not. I think these are a hybrid, I think. Right? Sometimes I use open pollinated, sometimes I use hybrid. Depends on what I'm in the mood for. Or what's available. And I find both can be good. Good to eat and good to grow. I think that's the last of the carrots in there. Yeah, that's the last of them. So in a sense, that's the last harvest of the 2022 garden, right? It's March 2023. Well, that's enough carrots to carry us for the next couple of weeks, right? I mean, we've been eating carrots out of the garden all winter long. I just picked a bunch yesterday, but this will be it. As I mentioned before, I just put these in a brown paper bag, and all I do is I snap off the tops of each one, leave them dirty, put them in a brown paper bag or wrap them up in newspaper, and stick them in the bottom of the fridge and use them, you know, when I want to cook them, that's when I wash them. And these ones, generally speaking, kind of show you here a bit, right? They're not like stored carrots, in the sense that, I don't know if I can get this across, making a mess of my pants here. You see, they don't need to be peeled. They're clean, right? They're fresh carrots, fresh out of the garden, right? Beautiful, clean carrot. You don't have to peel them if you don't want to. So that's another advantage of keeping them like this. I'll just stick them right there for now. Yeah, so this is thawed. I mean, again, the sides are frozen solid, right? The outer 12 inches, give or take, right? That's frozen up good. So all this other stuff is workable. And if it's workable, you can plant, right? Now, when you're growing stuff this way, you can't expect germination times and things like that to be normal, right? The only activity going on in the garden is going on during the day. And normally during growing season, you got stuff going on during the day and during the night, right? But when you're doing this sort of thing, where it's below zero, below freezing every night, the only activity happens during the day. So, you know, things might germinate and grow at half normal rate or 1/4 normal rate or whatever, right? It really depends on what you're trying to grow and how much heat it needs and that sort of thing. I think I said that this is going to be a cucumber garden. Now, cucumbers, I always plant them down the center. Right, so I'm going to leave that center, right? I'm going to leave the center open. I'm just going to make a row on either side of the center. Right, because it's very likely that I'll be planting the cucumbers while the spinach is still in the ground. Okay, it might be just finishing up, right? But maybe I'll be planting the cucumbers around the end of May or early June or something like that, right? So the spinach may or may not be done by that point, right? And that's fine. So this way I can have the spinach, right, and just work around it. I'll plant the cucumbers down the middle much later, right? Also, once the cucumbers are growing down the middle, on the sides where the spinach is right now, I'll have dill and parsley. I always plant dill and parsley with my spinach. All right, take these gloves off here. Get the spinach in the ground. Now, these are old seeds from last year. I did a whole video on my garden plan for this year, but I actually forgot to order my seeds. I just ordered them a couple days ago. So I won't have them for, I don't know, I got almost all my seeds from Vessie's Seeds. And if you want to get free shipping, use my coupon code GAVS23 to get free shipping from Vessie's Seed on your seeds and stuff. Right? I find you order something from them, it usually arrives in less than a week. All right. But these are leftover seeds from last year. This isn't the only spinach I'm going to grow this year. It's just spinach left over from last year. I have two varieties here: lakeside spinach and regiment spinach. I was just looking around for old packs of things. I found these, so I don't know how viable they all are. But I'm going to assume they are. Being a little bit overzealous with my seeding, not using I'm kind of overseeding a little bit here, but these are leftover seeds. I'm always amazed at gardeners that sort of hoard seeds. Seeds don't last forever, right? They have a lifespan. Some seeds can last a long time, but a lot of our garden seeds, they're really only viable for maybe 5 years. Some seeds remain viable for decades, and some only remain viable for a year or so. Like parsnips, for instance, they lose like 50% viability every year. They really do not hang on to their viability. Now, a great thing about getting things started under domes like this, generally speaking, is that you can move them later on in the year as another worm. Spinach isn't like that. You can't move spinach. Hates being moved. You move spinach after it's growing, you'll see the rate of growth just drop. Right? They do not like being moved at all. Nothing too crazy here. Little pat down like that. Right? Now I water them with the snow. These gloves are not insulated, so this is making my hands really cold. But it's temporary. Short-term pain for long-term gain. I'm sure someone's watching this saying, oh, the snow is going to reflect the sunlight and keep the sun off the soil. Yeah, there's enough soil here. There's enough dark soil peeking through that it won't matter. All right? I can almost guarantee that. Right? It's going to melt. Not the slightest bit worried about the snow not melting. Even if it doesn't melt today, it's gonna melt. It's all gonna melt. Ground's thawed, and we're creating heat. Or we're capturing heat with the dome. It's all gonna be fine. All right. Stick the dome back on. Stick a little snow around the edges here. For insulation. All right, this doesn't need to be low tech. Or sorry, it doesn't need to be high tech. Right? Stuff a little in there. Some people might ask how I keep the domes from blowing away. Generally speaking, I'll put a weight on them. I'll tie a rope over them. But if things are going to be really bad, and it's pretty windy where I live. I mean, I live in a peninsula in the North Atlantic Ocean. I know everybody thinks, I'm always amazed when I get comments from viewers. No matter where people live, they think they have the windiest wind. They think they have the rainiest rain. They think they have whatever it is, hottest hot, right? Never ceases to amaze me. Anyway, it gets very windy here. We have hurricanes and tropical storms. All right, so when something like that's happening, I might put a screw on either side and put a rope over it, or I just put a rock, right? I'll show you here. And I might just lean a weight. So I got the edge of the bed here, just lean a weight on each corner like that. Okay, that's all I do, each corner, right? But generally speaking, because it's a dome, if the wind comes along laterally, it hits the dome and pushes the dome down, it doesn't lift it up. The only way these will get air is if the wind can get underneath the dome. So you want to make sure that the dome is in contact with the ground all the way around. It's really handy, and people might have noticed this, for all these little raised beds, which are only raised a little bit. But I have the dome, the the dome is slightly smaller than the bed, so it fits in the bed, right? So there's a little, like, you know, there's the edge of the bed, and the dome goes down below it a little bit, right? And that's so the air can't get underneath the dome, pick it up and throw it into my house. And I learned that the hard way. I used to have the dome sitting perfectly on top of the beds. Everything was the same size. And if I was out working in one and I didn't tie a rope over it at night, these things would pick up and fly like kites, and I'd find them in the trees and all over the place. So the simplest thing in the world is to just have a slightly raised bed, maybe 3 inches above grade, the wood part of it, or whatever material you're using, and have the dome slightly smaller than that so it just fits right down into it, just like a Russian doll sort of thing, right? Anyway, great day, beautiful sun, great to get out in the garden a little bit of huffing and puffing there, trying to do everything fast on camera and that sort of stuff. But I hope you found it interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my thing with Vessi Seeds, free shipping. Use my coupon code GAVS23, or my deal with Hudson Valley Seed, 10% off using my coupon code Maritime10. Until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.